Alright, welcome back everyone. I'm teacher Nathan from Writers at Work. This afternoon, let's take a look at our 2016 O-level paper. Today we'll be looking at text 4, the non-fiction text, and we'll be looking at some tips and tricks to answer the questions as well as to understand what the examiner is testing you on. Alright, first thing, let's take a look at the text first. Okay, so this text here is related to elephants. Okay, I'm not going to read through the whole text with you word by word, but I'll just point out certain details that are important and explain certain words that are more challenging. Okay, so at the start, it tells you a bit of a history of the elephants. Right, they talk about how the animals in the past were very big size, and you can see that they describe the landscape of the earth as having dense forests. So we're looking at how there are a lot of trees and a lot of vegetation, and how the animals that live there were giant in size. Now we also talk about how they died out because of their inability to adapt to the new conditions. Right? Perish here means they die out. That means they were unable to reproduce. They don't have their offspring. And when we talk about adapt here, we are looking at how you are making something suitable for new use. Alright, and you can see the climate change in the past, and their inability to adapt is the reason behind the animals dying out. If we look further, after these animals, these giant animals died out, the elephants surprisingly survived, and they describe certain aspects of the elephant, right? Over here, where they talk about how they are grown between 2 to 3 meters tall, and you can see that their sharp tusks are used for defense. And these two elements or these two characteristics point to how the elephant is able or expected to defend itself against predators and other aggressive animals. Okay. Next, we also look at how the sharp tusks have many different functions. It can defend itself. It is used to, you can see here, dig up roots for food. So you can see it's multifunctional. And the word "and" here shows that we are linking extra information together. Now, moving on, apart from the tusk, we also talk about the trunk here and how it is the most distinctive feature. Okay, so distinctive here refers to a certain characteristic of the elephant, or you can say it's the most recognizable aspect. So it's like you talk about elephants, you would think of the long trunk. Okay, and you can see they enable the animal to do things. So we are looking at the use of the trunk here. Okay, at the second half of paragraph 2. And you can talk about how the trunk is also very supple. This means that it is very flexible. Now moving on to paragraph 3 here, we look at how the elephant doesn't have natural predators. That means no animal in the right frame of mind will go and kill the elephant for food. However, we talk about how lions have this habit and there are causes for it. So first one here, we're talking about competition for water holes. So it's like your water resources. So you can see when there's a competition means that they are vying for it. VYE, that means you're trying to fight for it, and the strongest person would enjoy the resources. Okay, and we also talk about how the elephants, especially the young one, the young elephant calf can be vulnerable. Right? Vulnerable means that you are exposed to the possibility of being attacked. And why is it so? It's because the lion's normal prey is short of supply. That means instead of eating other animals, the lions would substitute the other animal for elephants and eat it instead. And we talk about how the elephants can also see little in the dark, which means that they are very vulnerable. They cannot escape from danger quick enough, right? And this is contrasted with the predators that have better eyesight. So you can see this contrast here. And this leads to the elephants being prey for other animals. Now in paragraph 4 here, we talk about how the elephants are being used by human beings. Okay, so over here we talk about how one of the use is they are goaded into charging in the enemy line. So goaded here is that you're trying to provoke the animal. So you're trying to make the animal be angry, to respond in a very dangerous way. All right. And you also can talk about how the animals can also carry equipment. That means the animals are like your trucks, perform the same function. And also, they also use in the timber industry. That means they can pull and push different objects. And also, we also look at how they are used in the circus industry. Not forgetting over here, there are also breeding programs for the animals, and how they also perform certain roles in certain celebrations. Okay, so I'm not looking so in depth from paragraph 4 to 5 here, because most of the questions don't test in this part here, but it's the summary. So I don't want to dilute that thinking process for the summary. So that's why I'm just pointing out the main points so that you can understand the whole text in its totality. All right. Now we also, apart from these users, we also talk about a not so bright side about the elephants. where they are hunted. You can see for the trade in ivory. So they are trying to kill the elephant and extract out the tusk, the tusk. Okay, and in order to prevent this, we look at how there are reserves, there are like big areas too where no hunting is allowed. They are established to protect your elephants. Okay, so I'll say this text is, well, there's a lot of information, but I wouldn't say it's very difficult to understand. Okay, I'll just leave this here for a bit. If you need to clarify any information, do sound out in the comment section. Right. If there are no further questions, then let's move on to our questions. All right. So over here, we observe, according to paragraph 1, what did the landscape look like when the giant animals live on the planet? So over here, when you ask you what, this just refers to listing. So you're just writing down what description and what was being seen. And we talk about landscape here, we're looking at the visible features of the land. So please do not tell me that the land was very cold, it was very hot, because you can't see that, these kind of things. But if you say that there's snow, then yes, it makes sense. And they ask you for the reason here why the particular giant animals die out. Okay, now look at paragraph 2 now. They ask you the different parts of the body and their usage, and it's 2 marks. You can see this is a dead giveaway. Just list one part, body part, and one use. 1 mark is given to you. But that being said, please be very careful. We are only looking at 1 use per body part. So if you are very careless and you add extra information, then access denied. Okay. Now looking at question 16, they ask you describe the trunk as the elephant's most distinctive feature, and they ask you to answer in your own words. So when you have this phrase here, it means that you are looking at paraphrasing your verbs and your adjectives. All right, very straightforward. But I think when we look at this phrase here, most distinctive feature, so we will be asking ourselves, which word must we paraphrase? Well, the answer is very straightforward. distinctive will definitely need to be paraphrased, because this is an adjective. Then we also need to look at the word feature. All right. Now looking at 17, we are looking at two students that are talking to one another. So you can see this, what I call the talking head question, is looking at a thesis versus antithesis kind of scenario. So we are looking at how the elephant cannot defend against its young. And give me a moment. And you can see the girl says she's not at all surprised. So one person says surprising, the other say not surprising. So we need to find two contrasting viewpoints to support these students later. Okay, so you can see they ask you to give two features to support Nicholas's point of view, and one feature to explains Yiling's point. Then you can see there are two reasons for the drug conditions being particularly dangerous. So it's very straightforward. When we go to the text, we're looking for a portion when they say because blah 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 or as blah blah blah. Then you know that's the answer. But again, this is the pitfall. You need to paraphrase your verbs and adjective. Okay. Oh, and also to take note for these earlier questions, when they ask you to refer to the paragraph, right? There is that need to quote and explain. So sometimes the answers inside the paragraph may not be the most straightforward or the correct answer that we are looking at. All right. As such, there is the need to explain the relevance, okay, to this. All right. Okay. Last question here. We are looking at summarizing the ways elephants were used by the humans. The ways. So we are just describing, or you could even say they are listing. So usage number 1 all the way to usage number 8. But you can see they were being used in the past and present. So we are looking at two different time periods here. And we have, of course, the two paragraphs which I mentioned. I'll not look at it. Okay, let's delve into all the other questions first. So paragraph 1, you're looking at the landscape look like and why the giant animals perished. All right. So in paragraph 1, here we look at how the landscape was covered by, you can see, dense forest. This is what I pointed out earlier. And why did the mammals die out? Yeah, as you remember, I talked about the reason for dying out here. Hampered by their size. When the climate began to change, they were unable to adapt. So you see, this second part here has various components we need to mention. Number 1, they are very big size. Number 2, there was a climate change. And number 3, their inability to adapt. Alright, so please be very mindful when you extract out the answer. So here, what did the landscape look like? The landscape was covered by dense forest. Next, when they ask you, why did the giant animals die out? So you say, due to their large size. They were unable to adjust to the changes in the climate. Okay, so as I've talked about earlier, my 3 components need to be present here. Pretty straightforward questions. Okay, let's move on. Now in paragraph 2, okay, we're going to look at question 15 and 16 at one go. So paragraph 2, we are looking at body part and their usage first. After that, we talk about how the elephant's most distinctive feature is the trunk. Okay, so in paragraph 2 here, we talk about how 2 features, yeah? So first one, we talk about the sharp tusks. Feature 1. You can see, and here shows extra info. So digging out roots for food, this is one usage. The second one is here, weapons of defense. So we're only interested in one detail, right? Hello Kurumi, what level is this? This is 2016 O-level paper, secondary 3 and 4. Alright? Now you can look at this part, and we already identified 2 usage of the sharp task. So for the question itself, we are not interested in 2 usage. We are just interested in 1. So we can just pick either 1 to use, and we pair it together with sharp tasks. Okay? Now the next one we talk about is the trunk. Okay? The second body part. Now you can see that they have a very detailed description of what the trunk is used for. Right? It's very flexible, acts as an arm and leg, but you see, enabling, when you have this kind of word, right, or allowing, it actually points to the use. And what is the use? To reach higher branches for leaves to eat. And therefore, this is actually the real usage. Alright? Okay, so we have our answer for question 15 here. 2 body parts and their respective users. Now you can see further down they talk about the elephant's trunk being the most distinctive feature. And as we have talked about earlier, we are looking at how this is like a characteristic or most recognizable aspect of the elephant. That means when we look at the elephant, we immediately focus on its trunk. When I bring up the word elephant, you'll probably think, the first thing you'll think of is the long trunk that can swing about and eat. Okay, so we're looking at this most recognizable aspect. Alright. So moving back to our question book answer booklet. So the 2 parts are your tasks and trunk. Do take note, the tasks need to be plural. because the earlier part of the text talks about how the elephant used both the tusks together to complete certain functions, right? So one is, the use is to dig up roots for food. And your trunk is used to reach for leaves on high branches to eat. All right. Now you can see the next question about the most distinctive feature. So what does the writer mean? The writer means that the trunk remains the most recognizable body part, or you can say a characteristic of the elephants. All right. So the idea is you need to show this word most here, which is your superlative. And next one is on recognizable. That means we are changing distinctive with recognizable. All right. Okay, let's take a look at our talking head questions now. Okay, so Nicholas and Yiling. So the first part, Nicholas is very surprised that the elephant cannot defend its young against the lion. And we need to show two different features in paragraph 2. Okay, so when you talk about something being very surprising, right? We are looking at the expectation versus reality. So we are looking at the features which would lead to the expectation. All right. So what are the features? The reality is already being shown by Nicholas. All right. He already said that the elephant cannot defend its young. That's what is happening in real life in the jungles. But the question is asking you, what is the expectation? What are the features that would let you to draw the conclusion that the elephant can defend its young? That's what the question is asking for. All right. So in this case, why is Nicholas surprised? I would say, okay, we need to go back to the passage to check. All right, and let's go back first. So they ask you to look at paragraph 2. So they are asked. So the idea is you are looking at certain features, certain elements of the elephant's body that, when you read and understand, you may think, actually the elephant can defend itself with this feature. So if we look at this paragraph, you can see that it has a very towering height. Okay, so this already gives you the idea that it's able to defend itself. Because it's very tall, the tiger and lion may not be able to jump up and like bite it or things like that. The next thing we observe is over here. The tusk can be used to defend itself. So actually, the elephant is not very vulnerable in the sense. If the tiger wants to attack it can use the tusk to cut the tiger, to use it and like a knife like that, right? To deter the tiger. Okay, and this gives us the expectation that the elephant is very strong. But no, it's not the case. That's why Nicholas will bring that particular point up. All right, so for this case here, let me erase these two lines first. So what are the two features? So firstly, you can see we established the features, but what is the implication to the lion? So we already know that the elephant is tall. So what? So how will it affect the lion? Right? So we are looking at how this height is much taller, much more advantageous than the lion. We need to bring up this comparison. Okay, so you need to compare to the lion. So first thing is the elephant is physically much bigger than the lion in height and weight. That's why the conclusion is the lion is unable to attack the elephant from that kind of expectation viewpoint. All right? Next, we talk about the second aspect is the sharp task. So we're looking at how the elephant possesses sharp tasks that could defend itself against the lion. Oops. And that's an important aspect that we need to mention. All right. So you can see, even though we are just looking at features here, we need to make some link and some mention to the lion, because it is not about just these features alone. It's about how these features versus your prey, which is your lion. And that is the important thing, that comparison that would lead to this particular conclusion here, and this expectation that the elephant can protect itself. Okay. Now let's take a look at part B. So you can see one feature which the lion possesses, which when compared to the elephant is probably much more superior, and therefore the lion is able to attack and eat the elephant as its prey. So you see in paragraph 3 now, we are looking at how here the elephant can see little in the dark, and the predators are much more sensitive to the dark. That means the predators have better eyesight compared to elephants. Yeah, so we need to bring up this point. So how do we do so? It would be here. One feature the lion possesses, you could say that lions are able to see better in the dark compared to the elephant's poor vision in nighttime conditions. Okay, so you can see the idea is here, see better and compared to the poor vision. We need to bring out these comparative words, and at the same time this feature, we are looking at the same feature here, which is your sense of sight. All right. Hello, strawberry shortcake. All right. I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information here from these first few questions. If you have any doubts, do clarify with me. All right. All right, so if there are no further questions, then we can move on further to other questions. Okay, so question 18 here. We are looking at two reasons why the drought conditions are very dangerous for elephants, right? And we not only need to answer the question, we need to, remember, you need to paraphrase it, all right? So let's take a look at the question, the text first, right? Why drought conditions are very dangerous. So you can see there are video clips on the internet. Hello, Pei Yi. Hello, Violin B. Yeah, you can see here, there are pictures or videos on lions attacking elephants in drought conditions here, all right? And why is it so? What is the reason? See, number one here, the competition for water holes forced the two species to be very close to one another, right? That will be one of the reasons. So when they are close to one another, there's this idea that the lions may feel provoked and attack the elephants. Okay, the next thing that we observe is here, the lion's normal prey is short in supply. That means the lion don't have sufficient food, and therefore they need to eat the elephants as replacement. So how do we rephrase it? So the first one is here. The main thing we need to bring out is the close proximity. Okay. And the second idea is your short supply. We need to highlight these aspects. Okay, so moving to our question answer booklet now. So, okay, give me a moment. Let me take out my text from my here. Okay, so the first thing we need to talk about is the elephant and the lions. So during droughts, where when water resources are scarce, lions and elephants are near each other when they drink at the same water hole. The next one we need to talk about is during droughts. The lion's usual food source is decreased. Thus, they hunt young elephants as alternative food sources. As alternative food source, okay? Alternative food source, as an alternative food source. Alright, so we need to mention a few items that are important. So mainly, scarce here is being used to replace the competition for water holes. So then there's the idea that something is limited, that's why people are trying to fight over it. So we use this word. All right, and close proximity, we talk about they are being near each other. That means the distance between them, the idea of a distance is very limited. We need to bring that out very clearly. Okay, and next one, for the second part, we are looking at how the normal prey is short in supply. So normal prey, we talk about usual food source. The prey can be just referred to as the food source because you catch a prey to eat, right? And when you talk about short supply, that means there isn't enough for all the lions. So the idea is the quantity decreased. I could say is lesser, not able to support the lion population. Okay, you need to have certain words like that. Okay, and because of this, we link back to the idea of they hunt the young elephants. That's why over here they say that the elephant cannot defend its young. We just link back directly to our question. All right. All right, I'll just give everybody some time to take in the information here before I move on to our summary writing. All right. Alright, if there are no further questions, come, let's take a look at summary now. We are looking at the usage of elephants in the past and present. And we can find our answers in paragraph 4 and 5. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so in paragraph 4 and 5, okay, here. Okay, you can see the relationship with human beings is long-standing. Yeah, they were used in warfare, so you can see the first usage that we have is here. They are goaded into charging enemy lives. That means they are being provoked and they will like rush towards the enemy, and the enemy will of course be scared. The elephants are so heavy they can even step on them and they will probably die, right? Now you can see they are also used as shields to protect soldiers from enemy weapons. And you can see after they are goaded to, sorry, I missed out. After you are goaded to charge, they also use as terror against the troops. Okay, so you can see when this is just additional information when they talk about the general Hannibal and this idea, this situation, right? But you see, moving down, you talk about how they can transport the where is it? They talk about transport the army equipment. Here. Carry the army's equipment. This one also makes sense, right? This is also a usage. Apart from this, they are also used in the timber industry to pull and push. And lastly, we can talk about their acts in the circus. Okay, so when they talk about how they don't do these acts now, this is extra information. We are not interested in this. We are just interested in the fact that elephants were being considered as circus performance. That's all. Okay, so we are done with paragraph 4 here. Now let's take a look at paragraph 5. The first thing we talk about is they are in common in zoos all over the world. And the breeding programs are very successful. So you can see, yes, zoos here, this one use the elephants are like the residents of this particular place. Now, breeding programs are very successful. So is there a usage here? Well, it's linked to the second part when the visitor flock to see the calf. And what is the use here? The animals are able to the animals are like the special guest, and people pay money to see the calf, the baby elephant. Okay, so in this case here, I would say the elephant being like the star of the day, and people paying to see it is the use. All right. Now moving on, you talk about how the elephant continues to be important, play an important role in the celebrations, your festivals. Okay. Now we also talk about how they are also trade in ivory, and how the elephants are being killed and used for medicinal value. And we also see how there are nature reserves to protect elephants from illegal poaching, and it proved to be great tourist attraction. So we also need to consider this point, all right, that protecting the elephants, right, this very act of keeping the elephants safe, and there are people who are interested to go and visit these kind of sanctuaries for the elephants, and because of that, we actually can see some benefit that the elephants bring. All right, and last point is, okay, yeah, that's all. We have 9 points here. Okay, so how we're going to do it is as follows. I have my points here underneath on this piece of paper. They're exactly the same as what we have identified here. So what will happen is I would point out the point on my paper first, and then I would rephrase it on my tablet. All right. Okay, so the first thing we observe is here. They are coded into charging enemy lines. Right, so the main point that we are looking at is how the elephants are provoked to assault enemy lines and sow fear in adversaries. Okay, so you can see goaded is changed here to provoked. Charging, we are looking at assault. So this idea that you are moving towards the enemy. And you see, spreading terror, we will say sow fear. We are rephrasing this. And opposing troops. See, the word opposing here is an adjective. You're describing the nature of the soldiers. So we can change it to adversaries, which means somebody who is against you. Okay. Now moving on, we are looking at how they are more often. More often, that means it happens all the time. That's why I say they are usually placed as shields to keep soldiers safe from adversaries' weapons. Okay, so more often it's changed to usually. Position, this act of placing the elephants in certain areas, we call it place. Shields to protect soldiers. Protect soldiers, I change it to keep soldiers safe. From enemy weapons, I just change it to adversaries' weapons. Because in this case, enemy is once again an adjective. You're describing who owns all these weapons. Third, carry army equipment. You can just change carry to transport military equipment. Alright? So change carry to transport. And the timber industry, you can see the idea is to change pull and push, these two actions. So I will say they are trained to drag timber towards and away from places. Okay, so the idea is, you can see taught or teach, I change it to train. The same idea. And now pull and push, I say you are supposed to drag towards and away. So this is, broadly speaking, the same directions that the text spells out for us. All right? The fifth point is here. We talk about how they are popular acts in the circus. So I will say that they are well-known circus performers. Well-known here is replacing popular. And acts, I would use the word performance, or in this case, performers. Okay. Now, sixth point, we are looking at how they are very common to zoos over the world, and successful breeding programs will attract people to see the calf, the new elephant baby. Okay, so I would say that they are ubiquitous to zoos globally where thriving breeding programs entice visitors to visit new elephant calves. Okay, so the word common is changed to ubiquitous. That means very, very, you see this all the time. And successful breeding programs, I change it to thriving. That means they are growing in numbers, growing in their size, the number of elephants they are able to reproduce, things like that. Okay, and you can see visitors flock to see. This idea that you are going in big numbers, I change it to you're enticing, you're attracting them to do something. Okay, and see, I just change it to visit. Okay, seventh point, we're looking at how they take part in the ceremonies. All right, so there's one more here. They remain a powerful symbol. So it's like the rich will buy elephants to flaunt their wealth. So I will say that they remain a status in Asia. All right. So this idea that the elephants are being used to show power. Then moving on, after they are status, then we see that to show others this that you own the elephant, they would take part in the ceremonies and festivals. Okay, so you can see they play a vital part. The word is vital, so you'll be indispensable to ceremonies and festivals. Okay, these two are technical terms, so that's why I never change. I only look at the word indispensable. Okay. Now the ninth point that we have is here. The ivory trade is still ongoing. That's why they say it's very callous. It's a very evil trade, right? And so therefore you can say it creates a market for ivory trade. Okay, so you can see the practice. The practice here is that market. So you are creating the kind of conditions for buyer seller to come together. All right. Okay, last point. We are looking at how they are conserved in the nature reserve, and they are tourist attraction which can benefit the economy. Okay, so I will say that they are conserved in nature reserves, drawing tourists and stimulating local economies. Okay, so you can see over here we are looking at protect the elephants. The term I will use is conserved. And now you see they are a great tourist attraction, so I'll just say they draw tourists. And you can see considerable benefit to the local economy. I will just say that it stimulates or stimulating the local economies. All right. And with that, we have come to the end of this summary. I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information here before we move on. All right. If there are no further questions, then thank you so much for joining me on our Writes at Work TikTok session. I'm Teacher Nathan, and if you would like to learn more about O-level English with me, do join me on our TikTok tomorrow also at 12 p.m. We'll be looking at another O-level paper, all right? And if you have friends who are in primary 5 and 6, do join us this afternoon at 2:30 p.m. where we'll be looking at our prelim paper, all right? If not, I'll see everybody on TikTok again. Bye-bye.